Hello everyone, it's Jonathan here, founder of Driving Academy, and in today's video I'm going to be talking to you exactly what to expect if you take your CDL road test with us here at Driving Academy. Now if you're watching this video and you're a student of ours, congratulations, you're going to be taking your test with us at our third-party testing facility. If you're not a student yet, yes, that's correct, we can actually provide the CDL road test, which means we can do the training for you and we can actually take your test with a third-party testing site. And that's cool because it does not matter what state you come in. Today, for instance, we tested a few people just from Florida with the Florida permit. So it does not matter what state you're coming in from. This video is going to kind of give you an exact idea of what to expect when you go and take the test with us. So when we schedule you for a road test, the first rule is going to be always show up an hour before. That hour is going to be a good time to kind of make sure that, hey, the test that goes before you might finish early, which means you might get a chance to take your test early. Or it might give you the opportunity to kind of review the truck and make sure that you're comfortable for things like the pre-trip inspection before we actually get started. So once the test actually does get started, you're going to need to provide all the proper documentation, which means all your permits, all your driver's licenses, and bring your DOT physical with you as well. And that being said, once it comes time to test time, that's when the test actually begins. The test is going to be split into 3 different parts. First part is all about inspecting the truck. Here you're going to have to know how to inspect both the inside and outside of the vehicle. The examiner is going to be reading you down some instructions from a piece of paper provided by the state itself, so everything has to be legal, and from there you get to decide where you want to start. We usually recommend people start their inside inspection first to bang that out and get that out of the way, and then we can do the outside inspection second. At the end of the day, it is going to be your choice. However, like I said, if you want the best and most efficient way to get it done, start with your inside inspection and then finish with the outside inspection. You will have to provide a full outside inspection, which means the whole front of the truck, both sides of the engine. You're going to come down the driver's side of the vehicle and finish on the back of the trailer itself. If you pass that first section, which means you get enough points accumulated to move on to the next step, which is going to be part 2 of the road test, which is all about parking. Here we're going to have to park the truck 3 different ways. Now there's a total of 6 different maneuvers that you can be asked to do, but we're going to ask you to do 3 of them. So by law, we're going to have to ask you to make sure that you can back up straight. The second maneuver is going to be an offset backing, so it can be offset back to the right or offset back to the left. And the third maneuver can be either one of the parallel parkings or an alley dock, depending on what kind of course that you've taken with us and what kind of training you've gotten. That being said, what are some tips to really understand when it comes to the parking? When it comes to the parking portion of the road test itself, it's extremely important that you pay attention to the instructions, because anybody can kind of do the maneuver, but if you don't understand the instructions 100%, you have a very high chance of failing. So what are some examples of that? For instance, at the end of each maneuver, what are you going to be asked to do? You're going to be asked to put the vehicle in neutral, apply the brakes, and honk the horn. If you just think that you're done and you never honk the horn, the examiner cannot officially stop the test, which means now the time is running. It's not good for you nor the examiner itself. Or say, worst case scenario, when it comes to, for instance, straight line backing, you're going to have to start at point A, and then the examiner is going to tell you exactly where to end. Make sure you fully understand where your end point is, so before you actually start. If you have any confusions whatsoever, you can ask the examiner for clarification itself. But to give you this example, say you back up all the way to where you have to back up to, and then all of a sudden you feel like you're done, but you forget to honk the horn. You get out of the truck, that's considered a get out and look, and you have very limited get out and looks for straight line backing. For straight line backing, you can only get out once, which means if you get out 2 times, that's an automatic fail. So say for this example, as you're doing the maneuver, you got out to double check to make sure everything's good. You said that you were done, but you never honked the horn. You got out again. That's your second get out and look. Even though you did the maneuver perfectly, by law, you will not pass a test because you did not follow instructions. So something so simple is something that we do not want to fail you for. Just simply ask about clarification for the instructions and make sure that you honk the horn when you have completed the test on each portion of that. Now, if you pass that portion, now the next and final portion is going to be driving on the road. So when it comes to driving on the road, here are going to be some tips and tricks for you to make sure you pay attention before you start your actual road driving itself. So there's a few different tips and tricks, like I was saying, when it comes to the road driving itself. When it comes to road driving, the least amount of points that you get, the better it is. Every time you do something wrong, you're going to start accumulating points. Once you get to a certain threshold, then the test is over. The other way that you can fail the road test is going to be through automatic failures, and there's a list of automatic failures that can be done. If you listen to these tips, then there ain't no chance that you're going to fail. Tip number 1, if you're going to be taking a manual transmission vehicle, make sure you're starting off in the right gear. So if you're taking our 10-speed transmission trucks, that means the right gear when you're starting off from a stop is going to be in 4th gear. That being said, you want to make sure that that thing right over there, that T-bar, is put down. So tip number 2 is double and quadruple check the fact that the T-bar is down. Because if accidentally you leave the T-bar up and you're going to put into 4th, which is really 9th gear, if you look at this graph right over here, you can actually see that. Now all of a sudden you're going to try to start a 9th gear, you're going to stall, and that is an automatic fail. So we don't want to see that happening. When it comes to downshifting, you don't have to downshift every single time. Just make sure that you're safe with the vehicle itself. And you never have to downshift below 6th gear. In 6th gear, you're going 10 miles an hour, which is at more than safe enough speed to handle the vehicle safely. The next tip when it comes to actual shifting is focus on driving first, shifting second. So what do I mean by that? Say you're going down the road and all of a sudden the speed limit changes to 40 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour, whatever it is. Your first priority is not getting your truck to that speed. Your first priority is making sure that that truck and your surroundings are safe, which means you can take time to start upshifting to get to that speed. Or same thing when it comes to downshifting. Plan ahead, drive first, be safe, don't worry about the speed, because that's just going to make you overwork the shifting. In many cases you're going to start grinding gears, then you're going to get frustrated and nervous, and then it can all go downhill from there. Because if you can't find your gear and you travel the length of the vehicle, guess what? That's another automatic fail. The other thing is, say you can't find your gears, you're going down the road and all of a sudden you have to come to a stop to start all over again, boom, another automatic fail. So those are 3 simple automatic fails that can all happen due to improper shifting. But if you take advantage of those tips that I gave you, it's going to help you out wonders. The other thing is, whether you're taking a manual or an automatic transmission for the test, make sure you take your turns correctly. What do I mean by that? So if you look at this diagram here, the proper way to make a turn is just like this. So you're going to go straight up to the center of the intersection, and then you're going to make your right turn, or same thing for your left turn. If you can cross any line that you want on the intersection itself when you're making a turn. However, if you hit one curb, automatic fail. So if you just go to the center of the intersection, just like this diagram shows here, and then you're going to make your turn, cross any line that you want, and then you're going to pass. However, if you do something that looks like this, you touch the curb, you run over the curb, whatever it is, all of a sudden, boom, your test is over. It does not matter how good you did for the rest, because we have to follow the rules. And hopefully those advice definitely helped you out. All right, so the main thing is, make sure you follow instructions, make sure you understand exactly what's going on, and try not to be nervous. Our examiners are trained to make sure that we try to calm you down before the test, and we're trained to make sure that you're safe, we're safe, and we're putting a safe driver out on the road itself. So don't let the nerves kill you. We do know that it is a factor, and we take that into account when we are testing you itself. If you have any questions whatsoever about taking a test with our school at a third-party testing facility, give us a call, 908-525-3609, and maybe I'll be the one giving you the test one day pretty soon. Thanks, and have a fantastic day.